Hi, everybody. Today I'm joined by Ger Sheehan. He's a counsellor and psychotherapist, and he's going to tell us about the service that he provides today. So, thank you for joining me today, Ger.
Thanks for having me, Eileen.
So, Ger, can you tell me how long you've been practicing as a counsellor and psychotherapist?
Right, okay. Well, I've been practicing as a counselor and psychotherapist now for just over 8 years. And I would have gained my full accreditation from IACP, which is the Irish Association for Counsellors and Psychotherapists, in 2019. So five years ago now at this stage.
Okay,
So
very good, very
I've been
good.
at it a while.
You have. Um, so where are you based, Ger?
I'm based both in Middleton in East Cork and in Mitchelstown in North Cork.
Okay.
And sometimes I work online as well, but I would have began my practice in Middleton 8 years ago. I would have done my placement there before that through while I was completing my degree. And once I became fully qualified, I was kindly offered a position to stay on in a permanent role. So I've been working full time in Middleton for 8 years, but as demand has grown through COVID-19 and other issues, I've gradually kind of built a practice here in Mitchelstown since 2020,
Okay,
which seems to be going from strength to strength.
that's great. Great. And Ger, what groups do you offer your services to?
I work I work with adults, um, and I also work with adolescents. So um, for the first 5 or 6 years, I was solely seeing adults, from 17 to I think my oldest client was 93. And the demand again post COVID was very much again child and adolescent based as well. And unfortunately, we don't have the resources to refer people to. And so I went back and I retrained and did a diploma in child and adolescent therapy myself. So now I offer services really to anybody that needs it, anybody that's struggling. And I offer a range of therapies as well. So I would be what's known as an integrative psychotherapist. Basically, what that means is that I'm trained in a lot of modalities, cognitive behavioral therapy, for example. Um, I do grief and loss therapy. I would do trauma-informed therapy. And with the younger clientele, I would do sensory therapy, play therapy, art therapy. So I kind of fit the therapy to the client, if you like. Every client's issue is different, it's unique. So not one singular modality works. So it's very much depending on the client and the client's issue in what they bring, and we kind of tailor the therapy then to fit their needs at that time.
Okay, very
So
good. Yeah. Okay. So, and what do you find to be the most rewarding part of your job?
I think for me the most rewarding part is the privilege of the position I have. To bear witness to a client's story, their pain, their struggle, and to facilitate them to foster change, to be able
Mhm.
to change something about where they're stuck right now. Um, for a lot of people, that really means moving out of survival mode and just getting up and getting through the day and repeating that. So there's no quality of living in that,
Mhm.
So to be able to facilitate the client in moving from survival mode to living mode, to hopefully thriving mode, even, no matter what age. There's huge, huge pleasure and satisfaction in that. And to be
Yes,
part of that.
yeah, I can imagine that that would be very rewarding and satisfying. Um,
Absolutely.
and then I suppose to balance, what do you think would be your biggest challenge in your role, or some of the challenges that you come across?
I suppose one of the biggest challenges really revolves around cost for a lot of people,
Mm.
and that really the people that really need the help the most might be experiencing financial pressure, and as a private practitioner, we have our costs, they're set. I mean, my fee would be €60 per session, but I do offer a sliding scale depending on the client's ability to pay that. So it was my ethos at the very beginning to have affordable counselling that's obtainable by everybody. Nobody gets turned away. Now, I'm mindful that if someone has a medical card, they can get counselling in private care or in primary care, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
The difficulty with that is there's a bit of a waiting time, so you could be waiting 2 to 3 months to get an assessment. And after that, you would be assessed as if you're a suitable candidate for counselling in primary care. Whereas I strive not to have a waiting list. So if someone rings me this week, I would do everything in my power to see them within the next week, for initial session at least. I don't offer a set number of sessions, like a lot of the, again, primary care would offer, which I think they offer 6 sessions. Some clients might only need to come for 2 or 3 sessions. I have some clients and they're with me 7, and I have clients that are with me 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the uniqueness, every client is unique and has different needs from the whole therapy process. So we tailor the service to them, if you like, and meet them where they're at as well.
That's great, Ger, because I mean, if somebody is reaching out to you, it's because they're struggling right now. So having to wait, for 3 months, that's not really great for the person that is struggling in that moment. So that's
No,
great that you do have this, you know, that you're able to facilitate somebody so quickly. It's brilliant.
absolutely, because again, the question you asked me was what was the most challenging part, and another really challenging part to this is losing clients to suicide.
Yes.
Which is difficult for everyone concerned, for the family that's left behind, and for ourselves who always feel we could have done more, or maybe we should have done more, or have we missed something? And if there's a waiting time, if you're told that you're going to be waiting, maybe 2 to 3 months for an assessment, it's just too long. And it's in that time we lose a lot of our clients, unfortunately.
Yes.
So it is a big, it's really challenging part of this profession.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine. And Ger, what advice would you give to somebody who is struggling right now at the moment?
Well, what I would say to someone that's struggling right now, is to talk to somebody, to unburden themselves. Thoughts and worries become heavy after a while, and these burdens get really heavy, and they knock us down, they make us ill. Stress is the big problem, So whether you're talking to a family friend, family member, colleague, or a professional like myself, just reach out and make that initial contact first. There is a lot of services available out there, a lot of people willing to listen, a lot of people would have experienced the same struggles as someone that's struggling right now, and sometimes even in that identification, that you're not the only one in the world to think like this and to feel burdened, can be healing in itself, And the other thing I would say is to not take your thoughts so seriously, which we all do. We all struggle from time to time. Life can be really hard, and that's just our facts. But our thoughts can ultimately drive us crazy. But the thing is, they're just thoughts, and thoughts are not facts, and we should not take them seriously. So if we just step back from our thoughts from time to time and just observe them, just simply observe them instead of engaging with them or fighting them, our lives immediately improve, and it's something we all can do. Is to just take a step back from whatever's going on in our heads and just observe it as if we're looking from a distance, and not get tangled up with them. You'll notice the difference in your body immediately. There's a relief, there's a relaxation. And relaxation, again, is another piece of advice that I'm a strong advocate for. Finding ways of relaxing. A simple task even of a daily looking in the mirror, where you start to relax your face, you unclench your jaw, you relax your shoulders down, your body relaxes accordingly. It's self-care, which is essential. Sometimes people get confused between self-care and kind of selfishness, and times don't know how to say no to people when they don't feel like meeting someone or going someplace or babysitting grandchildren or something. They feel they have an obligation to say yes. Sometimes no can be a complete sentence, and that's self-care. That's looking after yourself from time to time. So I think that would be the advice that I would give most people. And again, mindfulness is another very powerful tool that we can all use, we can all avail of, to help us come out of our heads again. But making a cup of tea mindfully, just observing what you noticed. You're getting your cup, you're flicking on the kettle, you're putting in your tea, just doing everything slowly but mindfully, enjoying the cup of tea. What do you smell? What do you taste? So we're engaging all the senses. And while we're engaging our senses, we're not overthinking. You can only be in one or two places. You can either be overthinking or you can be doing something mindfully. Again, a mindful walk is fabulous. Noticing the trees, nature, naming things for yourself. What do I see? What can I hear? We kind of have a 4-4-4 rule. Like, name 4 things that you can see. Name 4 things that you can hear. What are 4 things you can pick up and touch or gently glide your hand along? What can you smell in the air? What can you smell inside your house? What can you smell or hear maybe outside your house? All of these mindful practices help us to come out of our head and back into our body. I think life has got so busy and so fast for so many people that we don't know how to be mindful anymore. So I think that would be the best advice I could give any day. And of course, starting your day with gratitude, finally, and I'll end on that. I think if we can start our day on gratitude and just be grateful for being able to throw our legs out of the bed and stand upright. It's a privilege denied to so many. And it's a great way to begin our day, to recall 1 or 2 things we're grateful for. And also at the end of the day, begin to recall 1 or 2 or 3 things that we're grateful that we have in our life. Our bodies and our nervous system will thank you for it because it'll relax, it'll feel calm, it'll feel at peace. So I think that's my little bit of advice anyway, Eileen.
Okay, that's great advice, Ger. Very good. Can I just ask you how much you charge for your service?
Yeah, so as I said earlier, the fee is €60, but I do offer a sliding scale. So, for the unemployed, I will reduce it down. For old age pensioners, I reduce. I want to make my service available to everybody. So nobody gets turned away. It's not so much about the money, it's about having a door open for people. Excuse me. Having that door open for people where they can come in and sit down in a safe, confidential space, and just process their thoughts.
Very good. And that is very reasonable and affordable as well. And Ger, finally, can I ask you how people can get in contact with you?
Of course, Eileen. Well, I can be reached by mobile on 086 034 1009 or email at gersheehancounselling@gmail.com. And I also got a website, it's Ger Sheehan Psychotherapy.com again. So even if it's only a phone call or a text message or whatever, I'll respond to everybody. Any general inquiries or questions, I'd be delighted to hear them.
Okay, very good. Well, Ger, thank you so much for joining me today. You've given some really good tips and advice for people, and I'm sure that it will be very helpful to a lot of people who will be watching this video today.
I hope so. Thanks very much, Eileen, for inviting me.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.